What's up? It's Kayvon McKinnon back with another episode of A Deeper Conversation. Thanks for everybody checking out the first episode. Sorry for the wait from episode 1 to episode 2, but if I'm sitting down with somebody, gotta be somebody worth it, and today's guest is definitely worth it. But before we get into my guest, make sure y'all, like, comment, and subscribe, and do everything y'all supposed to do over there. And so let's get to it, man. So my guest, Grammy nominated. How many of y'all can say that? Grammy nominated. Director of Inclusion and Belonging with the Carolina Panthers, WSSU alumni. Class of 2003, Scotland County, intern for Russell Simmons, on and on and on and on. The accolades go on. But most importantly, my friend, Quentin DeBerry. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yes, sir. How you been, man?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate that.
Man, absolutely, man. Last time I seen you was the class reunion, our class reunion. And you
was that the 10 or the 20?
The 20. I didn't go to the 10. Okay. The 20-year reunion, recently.
Okay.
You just kept emphasizing, kept saying to me is, we made it. We made it. And I was just like, you're right. We made it, man. We made it. And that we made it could mean anything. What, making out of the circumstances of where we're from, or some people might look at it, we made it in what you made or whatever. But you were just so happy and just smiling, just saying we made it, man. Why do you feel like you made it?
That's a really good way to start this off. I think when you just look at life and challenges, and you overcome those challenges multiple times, regardless of what they are, big, small, little, it doesn't matter. Like, you just overcame challenges after challenge, and you can still stand and have a smile on your face. I think you make it. Anytime you can, like, take the ideas out of your head and like really see them come to life, I think you've made it. So just anything I've ever been through, went through, seen, or experienced, to overcome it is like, that's the definition of kind of making it. Absolutely.
Before we go get to everything you're doing right now, let's go back. Let's go back to Mood Grass. I see you often reflect on the house you grew up in.
Yeah.
And when you look at that house, the house you grew up in, what's those memories? What's those thoughts? Why do you use that particular house for motivation all the time?
I think it's like foundation. Like, there is no, like you just read off a list of accolades. There is no list of accolades if it's not from the foundation of the house. Like, so everything that I've been able to accomplish, see, do, or experience has simply been because of that house. And example-wise, so my grandmother was like really stern and tough. Like, so I embody that quality. You know what I'm saying? I had an Aunt Nada that would be with my grandmother. So she's the laughing, joking person. So taking all these elements and just remembering where I come from is a state of just humility, that it takes work, and just never forget where I come from. You know what I'm saying? That regardless of where I go, what I experience, what I do, what I achieve, like, I'm still from Mood Grass, I'm still from Purcell Street, I'm still from Cross Creek, still with the North Laurinburg. So really just like never getting too high or never getting too low.
Absolutely. Greatest childhood memory in that house?
Oh, I ain't had too many in that house. Honestly, I don't say. I think just being there with my brothers at the beginning probably would be just childhood greatest memory, and my grandmother. Like, that's just probably still like the rock of my life. And I think just knowing that everything she taught me, I still carry with me today. Like, I don't think she knew what she was doing raising two young boys, but just everything she taught me, I think those memories like really propel me to where I'm at.
Gotcha. Like I said, man, Scotland High School, Laurinburg, North Carolina, that's our beginnings, our foundation. What's some of your greatest memories before we move on? Just going to Scotland, man.
Oh man, my cousin Travis.
McDonald?
McIntyre's,
right.
I think Travis was one of the greatest cousins. I got a bunch of cousins, so I don't want to slight nobody, but Travis played football, and so transitioning into high school, he was one of those. He was a good athlete, well liked, and so it helped my transition. I think taking pub, taking Miss Edmonds' class, it really taught me public speaking. That really propelled me into this life that I didn't know then. Being around my friends, meeting my best friend, you know what I'm saying? Somebody I've been friends with for now over 20 years. And just the laughs of just like being in Laurinburg. It's like we didn't know much because we didn't have social media, so you don't really know too much of the outside world. Just being able to graduate at the end of the day for me.
Yeah, me too, man. Much love to everybody from Laurinburg, from Scotland County, because getting up out of there, man, that's definitely the goal. I mean, like I say, it's nothing wrong with, staying there and building a foundation there. But for me, I always wanted something, I ain't gonna say bigger. I just knew that wasn't my end all be all. And you kind of had the same mind thought too, right?
I think for me, it was probably more or less getting away from what I experienced more than anything. So my mother wasn't there, I didn't know my dad, so just being able to like just really dream on my own. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen next. My uncle told me you had two options to go to the military or college. And so those are the options I had, so I picked college. So I don't know necessarily what it was, but I think it was more of just me knowing like, hey, nothing good has happened so far here, let me try something new.
Right. We first met. I think we first met and got kind of cool with playing JV football, and I think we both had the mindset of we ain't gonna play that long. We don't play that much, so the sports thing probably ain't gonna work. Did you have real sports ambitions at one time in your life?
Absolutely not. I think, man, I played football in Parks and Rec. I think for me it was just like probably the social aspect. Yeah. Again, we growing up on Mood Grass, not too much going on, but giving me an outlet to go play with my neighborhood friends. Yeah. To grow up, I knew I wasn't gonna be 6'3" and run like a gazelle or run like a D Mitch or block like a Michael Moody or anybody. So nah. And it was like, this is kind of wasting my time. I need some money, so I went and got a job.
Well, I mean that JV season was fun though. It was fun. It was fun. That was my last time playing football as well. Yeah. And that was
I think like 15-1, 13-1.
9-1.
9-1. Okay.
Lost to Richmond. Yeah, lost to Richmond. Transitioning to Winston-Salem State. Was it all Winston-Salem State? Was it another college that you thought about going to? Why Winston-Salem State?
Nah, man. I really wanted to go to UNC Wilmington.
Really?
Yeah. That was really my ideal choice. But I got like waitlisted there, and they wanted me to like take some extra courses. And then I had a cousin that actually went to Winston-Salem. My uncle that raised me, his niece said, "Hey, call this lady at Winston, tell her you know me." I had never visited Winston. I had never put in like a real application. It was really me having like super blind faith and trusting that IQ had the best interest for me without even knowing. And so, like, I only applied to UNCW and Winston-Salem.
Do you feel like you would have got the same college experience going to UNCW that you would have got at this HBCU at Winston-Salem State?
No, I don't know. No, I think Winston was like the perfect place that embodied everything I needed at that time as like a 17, 18-year-old kid from Laurinburg. I was able to take everything I learned from my family and go to this small place around people that looked like me, thought like me, and they were coming from Wagram, they was coming from the Rayfords, they were coming from the Maxtons, the Henderson, all these small towns that similarly look like Laurinburg and feel like Laurinburg. Right. So no, I don't think I would have got the same experience. Would I have been successful? Absolutely. I think the characteristics and behaviors that I have wouldn't have changed, but I think it probably wouldn't have been as fun and the acceleration of being able to be student body president and the things I were able to accomplish.
Your first thoughts of going to an HBCU, what's your thoughts? Like, what was your mindset? What did you think that experience was going to look like? You know, because my older brother went to A&T, and I would come visit him, go to homecomings and things like that. And I was like, man, this is what Wakanda before Wakanda, just beautiful black people doing dope things. What was your HBCU experience like, and what was your expectations going into it?
I didn't really have any expectations, to be honest. I didn't really know. I just knew it was college. But it was amazing. Like my aunt Little May drove me. We drove from Laurinburg to Winston. She dropped me off and said, "I got to get back before it
get dark."
You know what I mean? And so I was off to the running. But I remember particularly like just walking around the campus by myself. Like I'd already experienced like the worst things in life. What could go wrong here? I have meals every day. I know where I'm gonna lay my head at night.
Right.
There's other people that look like me. I feel like I can compete here.
Yeah.
And it was just really walking around the campus, and I remember just like, okay, let's figure it out. And took off.
Yeah, absolutely. Your time with Salem State, you accomplished some great things. One of the great things you accomplished was becoming a student body president. Take me through that of how becoming a student body president and what type of things that you had to do when you became in that role.
Absolutely. So I get to Winston. We graduate in June. Like I'm in Winston-Salem July for the summer honors program. And they put us in these honors dorms, and right across the hall is the current student body president, my mentor, Christy Sweet. And I was like, hey, you probably get a lot of free stuff. And she started laughing, like, yeah, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. One of the other classmates in the program said, hey, you should run for freshman class president. I was like, what, man? And he was like, I'll be your campaign manager. So go through it. My very first speech, I just opened my mouth and like just words started coming out. And I was like, yo, I can really communicate. So I become freshman class president, sophomore class president. And then my junior year, I ended up being SGA president, run against an Alpha and a Delta.
Wow.
And was able to beat both of them, but it was like, okay, cool. Some of the things that would do is really for me, like exposure at the highest level. Like again, I'm from Laurinburg. No one's in my family has done this. I remember I didn't have a suit, like a full suit. I had like a shirt and tie. And the university went and bought me like 3 suits the next day.
Wow.
To prepare me for what I was getting into. So just representing the university in different aspects, welcoming students to the campus. To me, it was like being a young CEO of your own company, managing a budget, and teaching me just like basic leadership principles of working with people that look like me, don't look like me. So really unique experience. At that time, there had only been 3 two-term presidents, and I became like the 4th one.
Wow, congratulations. HBCUs is probably more popular now than it's probably ever been. Even things that you do in your day job.
Yeah.
How do we continue to keep these HBCUs in the forefront, and how do we continue to get funding and keep our young people going to these HBCUs?
I think like they're super important. Without Winston-Salem State taking me in, protecting me, guiding me, the Dale Williams, the Letitia Cornish, the Chancellor Martins, the Dr. Michelle Howard Vatals. Without these folks, there is no Quentin DeBerry. Like I think my aunt and uncle did everything they did to prepare me to go to college, and then they handed me off to another village. So I think the first thing is that village. I'm a true product of that village concept. I think that the second thing is truly invest, which are financial dollars, of course, alums. And then I think the third thing is we're at a critical point in terms of leadership for HBCUs, that we have to begin to look at ourselves. What does the next 30, 40, 50 years look like for our institution? What are we actually investing in? I think Fayetteville State has done, particularly Fayetteville State has done an excellent job of preparing their students immediately for the workforce. Of course, you have A&T here in Greensboro with their engineering program.
Absolutely.
My little nephew goes to summer camp every summer. But I think it's just continue to highlight our stories, continue to show, and that's with our financial dollars and our brains and our creative geniuses.
Absolutely. At some point or another, you caught the music bug. Maybe it was interning for Russell Simmons. Or just growing up loving music. Talk about catching the music bug and getting into managing artists and even becoming Grammy nominated with Tamar Braxton.
Man, the crazy thing is like like everything I've ever asked God for, everything I've ever wanted to do in my life is actually happening. So it gets kind of scary. So I was actually, my roommate at the time was starting this record label with this young lady named Baby Sharon, was a rapper. I was president of the school. I would bring these artists to the school, and somehow I just got caught up in it. I ended up interning with Russell through MySpace, like just randomly. I was looking up quotes for our graduation speech. The light was like online back in the day from MySpace.
Yeah.
I emailed Russell. He tells me to email somebody, and then that summer, I'm in New York. So I did a lot of market research. So Russell was on the back end of a music career. So it was like demographic spin and where black people put in their funds, Hispanic, all these demographics. So I come back, cool, I graduate from school. Like, what am I gonna do now? I kind of like this music industry. I like the pace of it. I ended up meeting this guy from Raleigh from Facebook. I was looking at this other young artist, and the guy just caught my ear. Just random songs. He was an African dude. So I sent him like 5 beats. He sent them back in like an hour. So I sent him another 5 beats. He sent those back in an hour. And so they just felt good. And so I ended up managing in bass for about 5 or 6 years. I acquired Stanley Johnson, a gospel artist. We ended up having his music video on BET Gospel.
Wow.
Jerome Clayton, we have a couple of songs on All American, Love and Hip Hop, a couple of shows. But in bass was just like super special. We would be writing music all the time, sending them out. And my co-managers at the time were Delonte and Bobby, who used to manage Trey, K. Michelle, and a couple of folks. And we actually just forced him into the session. And because he could engineer, so he could engineer and end up getting writing credit. And so we were all able to just like be nominated for a Grammy through our client.
Nice. Talk about your experience working with Tamar. How did that all happen?
That's just submitting songs. So when you manage like songwriters and producers, what I do is pair them together, and we're just submitting records to their A&R, their managers, and that's how they pick up the records.
When you hear Grammy nominated Quentin DeBerry, what is the first thought to go through your head? Like what does that sound like, man? Because I mean, even myself, man. I definitely wanted to be a music executive as well.
Right.
Like, I think we all caught that music bug at one time of our life. But when you hear Quentin DeBerry, Grammy nominated, what does that feel like?
To be honest, I didn't really start feeling any of it until like maybe the last few years.
Really?
Yeah, they were all just like accomplishments to prove a point to my past life, to who I used to be. Like just because you were not in my life, I'm gonna just be really successful. So I had no feelings. It was just like, all right, cool. And I had already achieved some level of success. I think, like being freshman class president, sophomore, like I'd already seen levels of success. Being able to intern with some really big executives. So I didn't really understand what it really meant. I think it was cool. It definitely was cool to see my name and like going, at that time it was still cities, going into Walmart, spending the $10, whatever the city was, like opening the thing and seeing my name in the credits. That was super cool, but like I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it.
Did you go to the Grammys? Did you want to go?
Nah. I wanted to go, but they don't fly you out for free unless you're a top dog.
What would you say is the music to your childhood? Like what's some of the albums that would kind of sum up your childhood pretty much?
That's a really tough question.
For me,
let me.
I would say the Blueprint, Jay-Z. Like that would be a great soundtrack to my life. With Jigga using the soulful sounds that he used in that album, and hearing my parents play some of those records of me growing up, and then hearing Jay-Z flip those and turn them into hits. So I would have to say like between like Jay-Z's Blueprint would be like definitely a soundtrack to my life. Kanye's College Dropout, and then and definitely Project Pat, Mr. Don't Play. Like that would kind of sum up my childhood of some of the greatest albums.
Are we talking about from Laurinburg childhood, right?
Yeah, just if just a soundtrack to your life. Like what's some of the albums that kind of stuck with you that
I'm gonna say early years would probably be Mobb Deep, Getaway.
Okay, yeah.
My cousin Shante used to have like just a CD casebook, and I just remember always playing Mobb Deep Getaway.
Yeah.
Like he'll go run in the store, grocery store, I'll just put it in for a few seconds. I think Kanye Graduation was dope. And then I listened to a lot of like Kevin Gates. I listened to a lot of Big Walk Dog. A lot of like just urban really artists. Ace Hood has some really good music, like just helps me really think and like relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I listen to all types of music though.
Really?
All types of music.
Well, mess me up. Give me something that the people probably wouldn't even think that you listen to. That's something that's in your playlist.
This record called Confidence by Ocean Alley.
Okay.
It's a really dope record.
You got to send me that.
All right, for sure.
You got to send me that.
For sure. What else have we listening to? I've been heavy on like just vibration music because of where we're at it now, like just making sure I'm feeling calm. And I'm very conscious of like what type of music I'm listening to in the morning, at night, because I realize like these words are powerful. You know what I'm saying? So understanding what I'm putting in my mind. So I try to listen to more conscious music that's not like killing, drug dealing,
right?
Like putting my life in jeopardy type music. I feel like.
Absolutely. What is the biggest and the greatest pivot in your life so far?
I think I have a lot. I think life's is full of pivots. There's not just one. There are many, and you just gotta be ready for them. I think there's a bunch that stand out. I think I was having lunch 2017 with this older white guy named Fitz. And he just told me like, get out of recruiting and go use your brain. Like Fitz is probably at that time middle 60-year-old white man talking to an early 30-year-old black dude.
Yeah.
He was very honest with me. If Fitz doesn't tell me that, if he holds it in, if he's not genuine, if I don't trust Fitz, Fitz doesn't trust me, he doesn't tell me yet, and I never make it to the NFL. I think going to college and like deciding like this is your opportunity to change your life. Leaving relationships that didn't do me any value or give me anything. And for me, I was a people pleaser. I wanted to like just, sometimes in leadership, you want to do everything right. You want to please everybody. And so like learning to say no. Changing careers 5 times. So I've been in the music, banking, insurance, recruiting, now sports and entertainment. It's like really taking these moments that, again, can catapult you from one place to the next and not being afraid. I said earlier, everything bad that could happen already happened. So these pivots are just naturally part of like upward progression and upward mobility.
Absolutely. Black Resumes, that was a company that you started, right?
Yeah.
What's the state of it, and are you still involved with that, or what's going on with that?
Absolutely, it's still a platform. You can go visit blackresumes.com. It was an idea just to help like black candidates navigate the complex job search process, like find a new job. Like I have been fired a couple of times, people don't know. Like people here just like the highlights, been fired 3 or 4 times at the pinnacle of my success and pinnacle of my career, and rebuilt myself. But it's like, yo, they didn't tell us any about these jobs. They didn't tell us any about these opportunities. I remember talking to a young lady from A&T, and she was like, don't call me unless it's $70 an hour. And I was like, who's paying you $70 an hour? But then I just, more ingrained I got into it, I was like, people were coming to me just to find the Kayvons, to find the Quentins. I was like, let me build something that can house all this information. I can repurpose it later on, but data is king, and I have your resume, so we can figure out what to do later. But yeah, still active. Another random idea, I ended up winning a free $15,000, again, chasing my ideas, taking an idea out of my head and just believing in it. So it's still active.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful.
I got to probably change the name the way diversity, equity, inclusion is taking a beating now. No?
Absolutely. I know you said you didn't want to talk about this much, but we'll touch on just a tad.
Okay.
Your day job now.
Yeah.
Working with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
When I first seen it, I didn't know what that was. I was like, how's he? What is he doing? Like, how is this happening? But ultimately, I was super proud of you and super happy for you and rooting for you. Just briefly, what did your position acquire you to do?
So I tell people I'm a consultant to our internal team and external partners. What it means is like helping our team members understand that like diversity is good. It's not always rooted in color and ethnicity, race and gender. While those are like strong principles, there's other elements that bring it out. Like you and I, the only thing that we have in common is that we're two black men. Our lives are totally diverse and different.
Right.
From the simple fact that you have a wife and kids, I'm a single male. To your about to move to Virginia, that I'm living in North Carolina. Like those elements and our shared experience of life. So I talk to our marketing teams, like this doesn't look inclusive enough. Hey, Mr. Manager, you can't talk to this person like this. So more like a consultant for our teams. And then for the community stakeholders, introducing students from across the countries to the sports industries, letting them know there are opportunities for you to be a graphic designer. You don't just have to be a player. You just don't have to be a coach. We're exposing them to careers and opportunities that, frankly, that we didn't know about growing up.
Right. Do you pinch yourself sometimes? You pinch yourself sometimes, or do you always kind of figure that'll be the desk, that this will be where you be sitting at one day? Honestly, I always felt like this. I think one of my favorite scriptures, like, before I knew you, I called you, and I really believe that. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that my life was destined from a long time ago. There was no way I could go through all of this and it don't turn out good. Right.
You know what I mean? I pinched myself. No, I did sit on the porch. I think it was the last game of the season, and it was like, oh shit, I work in the NFL. I don't play.
Yeah.
I've never played. This wasn't a goal of mine. And so to be able to walk up to the stadium every single day and see that Bank of America across the rim, it makes those bad days not seem so bad. But I think it all, Aaron, my best friend, he always tells me, like I say, yo, this is crazy. Like, nah, you worked your ass off to get here.
Absolutely.
So there is no surprise. Again, for me, it's just not getting too high and getting too low. But I felt like and my Uncle Steve told me, like, you deserve to be there. And he would read out my accolades. Like anytime I felt like I didn't feel like I meant to be there or deserved to be there, my Uncle Steve told me, like, you deserve it. Like, you were president. And I'm like, yo, bro, I didn't know you remember all this stuff. So I always feel comfortable in these spaces now. And it's been about 20 years of just success. Even when I wasn't doing the greatest, people thought I was. So it's just been a constant, like, acceleration.
What do you feel like is the next pivot or the next corner you're trying to turn in your life? Is that family? Is that wife? That's kids? Like, what's the next thing?
I think, from like the human side of me says, family or wife, because you want to share these things with. But I felt like I also had to get to a point where I understood the importance of family, where I understood the importance of forgiveness. But then the spiritual side of me says, it's like, none of this is in my control. And like, I made a commitment to God a few years ago that I'll just do anything He tell me to do. Like, again, I wasn't trying to get to sports. Like, I wasn't like fighting to get to the Panthers. They just called me.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like being ready when God calls me to do whatever He wants me to do. And like I tell people at the job, like, when God tells me it's time for me to go, I'm out. I don't care what, I gotta move, because He's been like too purposeful, too good, and too on time for me not to trust Him at like this stage of my life. But Quentin does want a wife and a family, because you want to share these moments with people.
Absolutely.
And I've learned to share them, you know what I'm saying?
Before we get off sports, we about a week away from the Super Bowl. I just thought I'd ask, who you got in the big game?
I like Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I love what they've been putting together from a team standpoint. But then Patrick Mahomes is money man Patrick Mahomes. So I'm gonna still stick with the Eagles though.
You going Eagles?
Yeah.
Nice. If you can have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, 4 guests. Four.
Okay.
They ain't gotta be famous. They could be famous. They could be anybody you wanted to be. For dinner guests. Who would it be?
I think 2 of those automatically goes to probably my grandmother and my granddad. So Mary Joy Simmons and John Wilbur McLaurin. They'll get the 2 slots, because just to see their grandson like at at this stage in life. You know what I'm saying? Me and my grandmother used to be like this, yo.
Yeah.
Like oil and water, because I just wanted, and I forced myself to be good. I forced myself to think bigger, even at like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, because I knew that was the only way to kind of survive. And then my granddad he wouldn't come get out of his truck, but I remember at Parks and Rec games, he would be across the street watching me and my brother play Parks and Rec baseball. So just them being able to see what I've like went through to where I'm at now. And then I think one would probably be Nat Turner. I think we share the same birthday.
Okay.
He was a rebel. And then Job from the Bible.
Nice. Can I answer my same question?
Yeah, for sure.
Would definitely be Barack Obama, Jay-Z, J. Cole, and I haven't really experienced a lot of death in my family, so I ain't really got a lot of people that passed. But you know who I would bring?
Oh.
Good friend of ours that we went to high school with that died when we was in high school. Lawrence McNeil.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
Lawrence McNeil. I really like Lawrence, man. He was a really good dude, man.
So great. We played on the same Parks and Rec team. Me, him. That's probably like the only time I ever started though. He was running back. Our edge was our quarterback. Actually, Sam Shaw was our 2nd-year quarterback. But yeah, Lawrence was probably one of the most solid dudes at that age.
Yeah. His mother taught me at Carver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mama taught me at Carver, man. Yeah.
Classmate.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Lawrence. So you got a speaking engagement coming up soon.
Yeah.
Speak on how'd you get so comfortable speaking, and also about that event coming up here soon.
I think it's twofold. It's so crazy because the first time I went to Winston, that was like the first time I ever public spoke, got in front of a lot of people. I contributed to 2 people though. I think my Aunt Ruth, she was our vacation Bible school teacher, and you have to remember your Easter speeches. Like that was my first speech that I didn't even know that it was preparing me for then. And then Miss Edmondson at Scotland, those theater classes. And then you get to school, it's either you're gonna sink or you're gonna swim.
Right.
And I'd already committed to like running, and I think again, when you're destined and you're blessed and you're like doing what God wants you to do, he'll make a way. I remember even the first words were like, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail.
Wow.
And to me, that was my whole life already. Like I ain't have I had my aunt and uncle, but I was already going to 9th grade when I moved with them. So I kind of knew what was going on in the world. So I was really navigating my own path through it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And speak. What's the speaking engagement?
The speaking engagement. It's actually going to be at the Scotland High School.
It's going to be at Scotland.
Yeah, for Black History Month.
Wow.
I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet because it's a rare opportunity. You get invited back to your high school to
Absolutely.
speak. And I'm from there. It's not like me going and like reading about Laurinburg and delivering a speech. Like I know those kids. I know their moms. I know their dads. I know their family. But I also know what they're experiencing every single day in terms of their friends are actually dying almost weekly.
Yeah.
And so what do you say to them? What do you tell them? What do you show them? And so I've actually been struggling with what I want to say. Do I be really honest with them and tell them the truth in terms of like this life is hard. Yeah. Making it out here is hard. But also do I have some sympathy or empathy for what they're really experiencing in their young life. So honestly, this has probably been I don't want to use the word stress. This is the longest I haven't been able to just like put pen to paper or come up with real concrete steps. And it's scary because the last time I was in the auditorium, it was for a funeral I think the kid was 17. The year before that, I was in the gym for a funeral of a 15-year-old. But I know the parents of both kids. Yeah. And so it's like, what do I say to them? So I'm just struggling with what kind of message bring, because it's not about me. You know what I mean? It's like people hear all of these accolades and accomplishments, but no one knows like actually the road it took, the journey to actually get to this.
Absolutely. If people wanted to attend that, What would it have to?
I think it's closed. I think it's only for the students.
Only for the students.
Only for the students. Very intimate conversation with I think it'll be broken down seniors and freshmen, and then sophomores and juniors, which I think is a good ideal fit.
Absolutely. We'll stay on Laurinburg for a second before we close. What are you and what should we all be trying to do? Us as people have moved away or don't, what should we be doing to give back to that community that gave to us? Like what do you like to see as the future of that community in Laurinburg?
Investment of your time. Like, I'm not the only one that went off and done well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not the only one. Mm-hmm. I think it's unique because of the situation that I came from, and I think a lot of people know how I grew up and how I was raised. So it's amazing, and they're super proud. But again, I'm not the only one. I think go spend time in the school. If you got a day to mess around, shoot down there. It's a couple of hours. We're all within a couple of hours away. No one moved super far unless you were in the misery. And invest your time. Like, those kids, they need to put eyes on you. And I think that's the most important thing. Having the kids, the students, see that they can dream, that their dreams are actually real. I remember speaking at Shaw a couple of years ago. And like a week later, one of the kids was dead. Got shot on the front porch.
Wow.
So for me, it's like, and be honest with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not their friend, so I get to be really honest with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be 40 this year, man. 40 years old. It's crazy.
It is like the 40 run too. It's like a lot of birthdays already popped out.
Yeah. 40-year-old Quentin DeBerry, what would you tell to the 17, 16-year-old Quentin DeBerry?
I think the 40-year-old me would tell me a few things. Forgive yourself. It's not your fault. Anything that you've ever experienced, it's not your fault. You didn't ask to be here. And you did a hell of a job. You did it your way. You did it how you wanted to do it, good, bad, or indifferent. And you just grew with the cards that you were given. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that I'm super proud that the 40-year-old would tell 17-year-old, you didn't complain. It's so rare, people are now finding out, oh, you didn't have this, you went through that.
Man, when I see that house you grew up in, and I grew up in a little double wide, very nice, decent house, and when I would see you in school, you was always upbeat, always, cool. You had the dope ass job at Athlete's Foot,
That's shout out to Shakita Nichols. Shout out to Shakita Nichols.
I was I would have never thought you came from the humble beginnings that you came from. You know what I mean? You never threw it in anybody's face or anything, but you were just so very upbeat and so positive every time I've seen you. I never knew that you had the humble beginnings that you did.
We don't get to pick our start, and that's what I've learned throughout life. It's really how you finish, and we all are going to get pushed down, or you're going to get back up. And so, again, I know where I really came from. That's why the accolades don't mean too much, because I know exactly where I started from. And so these are just blessings that God just give me every day that I hope I'm making God proud. I'm hoping I'm making my aunt proud. I'm hoping I'm making my family proud, my friends, and those that really care about me. That those are the ones I'm concerned about. That's my nieces. That's Caitlin and Ryan. Making sure that they have a fair opportunity, because if I make their opportunity fair, that means your daughter gets a fair opportunity.
Absolutely.
So just taking care of people who took care of me.
When it's all said and done, Quentin chilling on the porch, retired, how would you like to be remembered? And how would you like to be remembered when the people remember Quentin DeBerry?
I didn't realize you had on Jordans either. Fresh.
Thank you.
How would I like to be remembered? That I learned, that I grew, I developed, that I'm not the same as I was 5 years ago, and that I cared about just people. I really care about anybody that wants to change their life. I care about them. Anybody that's had a rough upbringing, I care about them. That's really it. Just he overcame, like my life was like hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, damn, but you got to keep going. But just keep going is what I want to be remembered by.
Okay. Anything else before we close? Anything you want to leave the people with? Any inspirational quotes? Anything you want the people to know before we get up out of here?
No, I appreciate you for having me. This is really dope. I haven't spoke on a podcast in a while. So I really appreciate you just inviting me out. And
Absolutely.
To anybody, just keep going. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I tell a lot of people we're all just guessing at a high level. Like no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
We just all guess and take the shot. Just take the shot. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you believe, God says whatever you think in your mind, He's with you, and just live your life like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again to Quentin DeBerry for pulling up. Everybody, class of 2003, Scotland.
Appreciate
man.
y'all.
Man, if you got a dream, man, just keep going. Is the finish line. Just got to keep going, man. Don't never give up on your dreams and keep your dreaming. This is another episode of A Deeper Conversation. Definitely let me know who would y'all would want me to see on the next episode. I kind of like you. Ali was the first guest. You was the second guest. I would like to kind of stay in this kind of little Scotland County realm, but you know, it just got to be somebody worth talking to, worth a deeper conversation. Thanks everybody for watching. Till next time, keep God first, and everything else will work itself out. Peace.